So Rule 16 covers changing course, and it puts very specific limitations and clarifications on what a right-of-way boat can do in terms of changing course, especially if another boat is trying to avoid them. So let's take a look at the language. It essentially says when a right-of-way boat changes course, she shall give the other boat room to keep clear. And we've talked at length here in this seminar about the definition of keep clear. But in addition, when after the starting signal, a port boat is keeping clear by sailing or passing astern of a starboard boat, the starboard boat shall not change course if, as a result, the port tack boat would immediately need to change course to continue keeping clear. Okay, so that's a lot of language basically describing a common scenario where starboard starts to change course, port tries to change course, and now they start to do the dance, as we say. And we'll see some scenarios that cover that. Typically referred to as hunting by the right-of-way boat. So what this rule really says is that we don't want to do the dance, and in fact, the right-of-way boat can't do the dance. It has to allow the non-right-of-way boat to keep clear. It's covered in the case book. In this case, this is through a question number 33, which really clarifies what it means to change course. It says to change course means to change the direction in which the boat is heading or moving. So this gets back to the consistent point we've made of it's not how the sails are trimmed, it's not the speed of the boat, it's the course the boat is pointing. Again, I think of it as the course on the compass that the boat is headed. So let's take a look at a hunting example. Here we have green on starboard, red on port. And the progression, the sequence here matters. Green initially heads down, as does red at position 2. You can see they're actually pointing at each other, and then red bails out and comes up and tacks underneath them. So let's take a look at who's right and who's wrong in this scenario. So green alleges red does not keep clear under port starboard. Red alleges green breaks this rule, Rule 16, because green altered course. So if we look at 16.1 in the definition of room and keeping clear, if the right-of-way boat changes course, she has to give the other room the boat to keep clear. In addition, 16.2 talks to when after the starting signal and the port boat is trying to keep clear, the limitations and obligations of the starboard boat. We've talked about room and definitions of keep clear. And so the reality is at location 2, the question is, does green break Rule 16? And the short answer is no. At location 3, does green break Rule 16? Different answer. The answer is yes. So at location 3, the real question is, does red break Rule 10, the port starboard rule? And the short answer is yes, they do, but they're actually exonerated because they did so because of green's actions. In other words, red ends up having to tack because of green altering its course. So in this scenario, the starboard boat, green gets penalized. So you can see the limitations put on green, even though initially they are the right-of-way boat, because of the amount of course change that they do and when they do it. So let's take a look at another example. Here we have a downwind example. Two boats sailing downwind on opposite jibes. Blue comes in, jibes to starboard to weather, and then yellow does a fast or hard luff of blue. So let's take a look at this scenario. Again, we always assume a valid protest. Yellow alleges blue does not keep clear, windward leeward, Rule 11. Blue alleges yellow breaks Rule 16, alters its course. Well, let's look at 16.1. Right-of-way boat changes its course. It has to give the other boat room to keep clear. So the question is, did that happen in this scenario? And again, applying the definitions of room and what it means to keep clear, yellow turned so fast after blue jibes that blue couldn't respond promptly and in a seaman-like way. At location 3, blue does break Rule 11. But blue is exonerated in this case. She breaks Rule 11 because of yellow's actions. So while it's great to yell head up, windward boat keep clear, whatever yellow is yelling at them, fundamentally their course change so abruptly right after blue jibes causes yellow to be penalized in this situation. So another example of the right-of-way boat not giving the other boat initial room to keep clear, and the right-of-way boat gets penalized. So to recap, 16 puts limitations on the right-of-way boat. It speaks to how it has to give initial opportunity for the other boat to keep clear. There are definite scenarios here where the non-right-of-way boat can be in the right even if there is contact. And so it's very important that the right-of-way boat understands its obligations under this rule. It does, and the whole point of this rule is to limit hunting, so that limit the amount that starboard boat can move back and forth and change its course. Make sure that they don't do the dance where they start both moving simultaneously. That can certainly create the potential for serious collisions, and that's really what's behind this rule.